So one of the most important parts of coming up with a business or starting a business is having a really good idea. So we're going to be looking at finding a gap in the market this video. And what you need to know for the specification is describing what the term gap in the market actually means. This is a very common question on past paper exams. We need to explain how businesses, this third one, how businesses find gaps in the market and why they want to look for gaps in the market as well. So a few key terms coming up now. USP means unique selling point, and this is just something that sets a product apart from the competition. So it is meant to be unique, so only that product has it and the competition doesn't. So for example, with Red Bull, it's very high in caffeine. Now I know there are some drinks out there on the market, coffee being one of them, that do have high levels of caffeine, but Red Bull has a very high level of caffeine, and when it first came out in the 90s, it was one of the few on the market. The Apple iWatch, obviously have using a lot of the technology from the iPhone into a watch, and there are competitor products on the market now, but it was one of the first out there, maybe not the first, but one of the first, and obviously using Apple technology as well. And then sometimes it could just be about branding. So because there's legal protection for brands and logos, we see designer wear like Jack Wills. Other companies can't copy it. So this could be a unique selling point that a product has a brand or a logo on it. Some more key definitions here. Product differentiation just is very, very similar to USP, but I think more products have product differentiation than USPs, because actually a USP has to be unique, but product differentiation could just be something that makes the product stand out. So it could be something that another competitor product has, but nonetheless it makes it seem different. So most products out there have brands, but each brand is quite different from each other. So that could be product differentiation. And gap in the market. So this is an opportunity that's either completely new or adding something different that a competitor hasn't added. So we'll have a look at a few examples in a few slides' time. But a niche market as well is a small part of the market, usually with very specific needs or requirements. Now, this term niche market isn't in your textbook, but it does appear in the specification, so that's why I've put it in there, and we'll have another look at some niche markets later on. So why aim for a gap in the market? I've got 2 points here: less competition, less competition. When you're answering questions like this in the exam, you need to make sure that you identify a point. So I've identified, I'd get 1 mark for this because it's just a duplicate, but then you have to explain why this is a good thing or why this happened. So here I have less competition means more demand from customers because they can't get the product elsewhere. This means more sales, this means more revenue, and hopefully more profit. My next point, less competition, maybe you can charge a higher price because there's no other competitor in the market selling the product. Maybe you can have higher profit margins because you're selling it at a higher price, and hopefully, that leads to higher profit. So if we look at a few examples here, Bounty, as far as I know, this is the only mass market chocolate bar that has coconut in it, and that you can kind of readily buy from a newsagent. So that would be a unique selling point for it. It makes it stand out from the competition as well. It's product differentiation in there. I suppose in some ways you could think of the market for chocolate with coconut in it as a niche market. It's a small market, part of the whole market for chocolate. I really love coconut and chocolate, but I know a lot of people don't, so you could think about it in a niche market, but I think it's probably a little bit too big a market to be thought of as a small market. Yorkie, their USP I suppose is in the branding, and they say it's not for girls, it's kind of like a joke. Obviously girls can eat it, but they're marketing it based on it being really chunky and big and not small and delicate, I suppose. So using gender stereotypes in a jokey way. I don't know if I agree with that, but in a jokey way I think they're meant to be. And then Maltesers, that you can see here on their packaging, 187 calories per pack, so marketing it as low in calories for a chocolate bar, I suppose. And they've also got this free trade logo on there talking about so product differentiation, not necessarily unique because a lot of chocolate bars have this on there now, but setting it itself apart from the competition. So those are USPs and product differentiation. How do we actually identify a gap in the market? Well, what you could do is look at the current market that you're aiming for. So if we were looking at chocolate bars, and then you could think, right, how would I do this differently? How could I make one of these chocolate bars even better than it currently is? And so that's market observation. The other method that you might have looked at is market mapping. Now, I have got this diagram from the internet. I just Googled it. It's not my diagram because I quite like Kinder Eggs, and I wouldn't necessarily say they were low quality, but this is somebody else's view of where these different chocolate bars sit. So you can what you're doing here is you're getting two features. So we've got quality and then price against each other, but you could have price, you could have like type of chocolate, dark chocolate, right through to milk and white chocolate, or you could have any other characteristic. You're just taking two and then you're plotting it against a diagram. So we've got ranging from low price to high price, ranging from low quality to high quality, and you can see that there are gaps in the market. So there's kind of a gap here. Now there's probably a reason for there being a gap there, because if you have a low quality product and you try and sell it for a high price, maybe people will be fooled the first time they buy it, but word will get around, and I don't think you'd get many customers. However, if you're selling high quality but at a low price, maybe you've got very low profit margins, but there's a gap in the market here where you could make a lot of profit. I always think of that kind of high quality, low price maybe as like Tresemme shampoo. They're marketing it as being salon quality, salon, high quality, but for a reasonable price, for a low price. So you could, come up with a chocolate bar equivalent of the shampoo Tresemme, maybe. So gap in the market means an area of the market that has not got very many products, that maybe there are customers that aren't being sold to, and the reason why that might be a good idea is because there's less competition, and so there's more potential sales. Maybe you can charge a higher price, higher profit margins, or just more sales in terms of more revenue, more profits. So it seems like a good area to aim at, and identifying gaps in the market is using this market mapping, or looking at the current market and observing the current products and thinking, how can I improve upon those?